guys, welcome back to the Be That Create That social channel. I'm incredibly excited to be continuing to bring you some of these interviews through our YouTube, our podcast, the Female Leader Headquarters, and on LinkedIn. And I have had the opportunity through the socials. When social media is treated as social platforms, then you get the opportunity to meet and connect with some fabulous people. Specifically, I feel like I'm attracting people who are making a difference, making an impact, and really those change makers and light workers. So I'm going to be continuing to bring these interviews, but I want to be able to share Jen with you today. She is going to pop on here. Hello again.
Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to share Jen with you because she is the creator and the director of Dream It Marketing. And I'd love for you to share, Jen, how you started that vision and got started in your entrepreneurial journey. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Jen. I'm a branding expert and strategic designer that helps big dreamers build remarkable brands, transformative experiences by leveraging creative strategy, design, and storytelling to take passion projects to the next level and actually attain the freedom that you long for and that you deserve. And I started probably around the same time a lot of businesses started, right during the pandemic. I had just graduated college from a marketing degree, and I came into one of the best economies at the time. And then, then the pandemic happened a couple months later. And then I've always had this kind of like idea to start my business from a young age. My parents grew me up with that entrepreneurial mindset. And I'd always known I wanted to do it. And then when I got fired from a job after a corporate job afterwards, because, things were just absolutely hectic, I was just like, well, there's no better time to do it than right now. So that's how I kind of started. But I went into branding and brand strategy because it was a great way to marry the creative side of me and then also the analytical side of me, and just bring those two together in just a way that makes sense, and that you're able to present some really amazing strategies that just help people build their business, convert their dream clients, and all that good stuff.
I love that you bring up the fact that it's about strategy and creativity. Yes. Because it doesn't have to be one or the other. This can totally be both. And in all honesty, our businesses really thrive the most when you allow yourself to have both. Absolutely. So maybe share with us, how do you work with who's your ideal client? And when you're working with that client, how do you bring out that creativity in them so that they can really get some of that freedom in their branding?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, I work with big dreamers. I'm a big dreamer myself. And so I like to work with people who are just visionaries in their business. And it could be like the most mundane type of industry that they're in. But if they're doing something creative and just visionary and really unique, I love to see that and work with those kinds of people. And then I sit down with them and we talk through a whole lot. I go through to do brand strategy for them. I usually sit down with them. It takes like 2 to 4 hours sometimes, depending on the person. And we just sit down and actually go through like their target audience, what their business is like, where they want to go, all the different things. And I sit down and like I listen and I kind of write down the different things, different ideas that come up. And throughout that, I kind of highlight some things, and there's like a very strategic process that we go through where we just sit down, and it's very conversational like this. It's what I call like just brainstorming and dreaming about what you would like to do with your brand and how can we get there. And then after that, I sit down and create basically a brand package where basically a big toolbox about how we can get to where you want to be using a whole bunch of different tools. And one of my favorite parts is just grabbing kind of some thoughts and ideas that we did during the strategy session, and connect them into something that's never been done before, something truly unique, and use that as the focus point of making a differentiation factor, of making your copy, your messaging, all that stuff that you need to actually connect and resonate with dream clients.
I love that. So when you're talking about some of these projects that you've put together, can you tell us maybe about one of your favorite projects that you've worked on and why?
Ooh, Let me see. I think I'm kind of going through the one I like the most right now, and it's basically she is looking to get back into the spa space, I guess you can call it that.
Mm-hmm.
And she just has these amazing like visions for it and creating like a very unique way of coming to it with her background of psychology and also massage therapist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not exactly sure what the terminology is. We're still working through everything.
Yeah.
But just the way she's kind of like seeing things for the future, and we're just sitting down and talking, and it's one of those kind of clients where the relationship is just so like you understand each other so well. We're able to like I'm able to see exactly where she's going with it, and she's able to see exactly where I'm trying to take her. And it's been a really great project so far. We're still kind of like in the beginning stages, but it has to be one of my favorite ones because it's just so unique right now.
Mm-hmm. I love when you really feel like you're with a client and you're bringing them to a space where they're incredibly comfortable in just being vulnerable and sharing their ideas. And then you take that idea and then you just create this magic with it. It's like, yes, I get you. I know exactly what you're saying right now. And we're going to blow this ish up right now.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And I feel like that's what brand strategy is. You're bringing someone like a third party into this intimate space because it's not just like your business. And because I also believe like you are your business, but you're so much more than your business. You're bringing someone into like a passion project is what I call them.
Yes.
And that can be a little intimidating. It could be a little uncomfortable. And you're like spilling your heart and soul with like onto this person, and they're trying to be like, okay, this is how we're going to organize everything and how we're going to get to where you want to be.
So can you probably share this opinion with me. However, tell me your first feelings on the words personal branding.
So personal branding are also just it's very important. It's definitely another layer to just branding in general. There's like the personal brand, there's the business brand, and if you want to even go deeper into that, you have the offer slash product brand. So it's definitely a layer within there that is important to figure out because branding is all about how people perceive you to be. And if you have no control over that, then that's kind of where things don't go well for you, or where you have to go and regain control, which is like it's the hardest thing you can do. But it's still definitely something that's very important and something that should be established, even if in like a general basis, just being this is who I am and this is what I stand for.
Right. Yes. I always think of personal branding as it's what people say about me when I'm not in the room.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
What am I known for? What is my legacy? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So as we know, as entrepreneurs, we have to have some set of discipline, right? We have to be able to get the things done that are nobody's there to tell us that what we have to do and when we have to do it a lot of times, except for our clients. So share with me, we talk about morning routine quite a lot in this community, and not everybody's a morning person, and I get that. However, what would you say is something that when you look at your day is a non-negotiable for you that you feel like makes you successful?
Yeah. So I am a huge planner. I need everything planned out for me. I know that not everybody is this way. My sister's the exact opposite. She's like, I cannot have anything planned. But I am a huge planner. For me, it's like if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. If it's not, if it's not present and in front of me, it really doesn't get done. So definitely creating that to-do list, and even like time blocking it out. Like today, it's like this meeting is being time blocked for me. So it's like making sure that I know exactly how much time I'm going to dedicate to it, and even like see what what is a priority. So everything has like a red flag, an orange flag, and a blue flag. So I know exactly like my order, and again, I know even what time I'm working on it.
For some of the marketing that you're doing, what are some of your favorite platforms to use?
I absolutely love TikTok, and that's coming from like what I call an extroverted introvert.
Same.
So yes. Yeah, I love it. It's like there's so many of us and people don't even see that that's a thing. But anyways, I love it. But I also have like a background in like film and acting in like high school. So I'm very comfortable in front of the camera. And I think it's a better way for me to express myself. I have this weird thing where I say I'm not photogenic, but I'm videogenic. So I feel like,
yes.
right? right? It exists. It's a thing.
It does.
And I think that's like my favorite platform. I basically do everything in TikTok, and then I repurpose it in Instagram, and any like podcast stuff that I do. Also, everything just basically TikTok, and it trickles down from there.
And what kind of content could they find if they're going to follow you on TikTok?
Yeah, so I release all sorts of like branding tips on there. I do it every Tuesday. It's literally my top tip Tuesdays that I do that. Different aspects of the branding and just like understanding what it is and what goes into brand strategy, why it's so important, and even like different offers that I'm releasing throughout. I'm there.
Sure. So when somebody does decide to work with you, what kind of packages do you offer them? Like, what would they expect?
Yeah, so my signature package is brand strategy, and that is sitting down for that 2 to 4 to plus hour strategy session. We sit down, we go through your target audience and figuring out and establishing exactly who they are, then creating that as a strategy, as a platform, kind of like as a foundation to build all that strategy on. From there, I sit down and I create that brand strategy packet that comes with establishing more, diving deep into your target audience, creating your core values, creating the brand personality, how you're going to show up, social media. It's a huge thing, and so much to it. And then there's access to me with any questions throughout the entire time of the project. And
That's
then
awesome.
and then after that, if you're interested, I also create the logo based off all that strategy and that identity and any of the designs, templates that you might need based off of all of that strategy.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's a whole full meal deal right there.
Yep.
Yes. And a lot of times, when you maybe use somebody for a logo, and you maybe use somebody for your copy, and you maybe use somebody for your tagline, and when you take all those parts and you try to fit them together, they're just not cohesive. So it's awesome that you're offering brand strategy that includes all those things, including that brand personality, because they really do have mojo flow.
Yeah. And on top of that, like I mentioned, it's a toolbox. So if you ever like need to apply it to something, you know exactly where to pull out. You know what messaging you're having. You know what brand archetype you are. You know, and when you're even making a decision or any like new offers, you know exactly, like there are tools to help you figure out what is best and how to present it best.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Awesome. So I've had you now hot seat for almost 15 minutes. I love that you guys are so cool about these being conversational, because I'm like, now we're best friends. We have to continue. So, do you have, I always give you guys an opportunity, has anything come to mind that you feel like maybe you have any questions for me?
Let's see. So what would you say is your favorite way of communicating?
I love this question, because like you, I am definitely the extremely extroverted introvert. I recharge by myself, but I don't get a lot of time to do that. I want to be invited to all the parties, but I'm incredibly anxious until I get there.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would say that small talk makes me very nervous, because I always trip over my words. But if you can kind of feel it probably. I get very excited about people talking about their goals and the things that excite them and bring them a passion and what's fun for them. And, that kind of conversation really gets me going. But I would also say I really enjoy speaking engagements, because that energy in the room of people who are connecting and they're happy and they're excited to get to know each other in the network. And I really love those. So video tends to be the best platforms for me, because I feel like my brain moves too fast for me to write what I'm thinking.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
No, I 100% agree. I think I wrote that down somewhere, being like, or I keep telling people this. I'm like, my brain is 5 sentences ahead of my mouth, so that's why I trip over my words.
Yes. And then, so I just finished my second book collab, and I was having some hard time getting things to feel, I write like I talk. Right. And I felt like what I was writing I was worried about it too much. So it was starting to get a little bit too educational teacher version of me. So somebody that I was talking to was like, why don't you try text to talk, or talk to text?
Yeah.
So I opened up a Google Drive and I just started talking. And then I was able to take all of those things that I found, and I was able to really bullet point them down and then start to type each of the bullets. And that was an incredibly helpful process for someone like myself.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've heard that so many times, and I've been meaning to try it out, and I'm going to, because it really is just talking it out, even with yourself, is really a great way for, I think, introverts to just formulate those thoughts and write it down. And especially, like, again, if our mind is like a bullet train while our mouth is like, a slow train, I guess, then it's so much more helpful. But sometimes I will do that, like make little notes, but I really haven't gone like the whole deep dive into like just a huge paragraph of it.
Yeah.
But I've heard it's a very, very good tip, and it is.
Yeah. What is something that you're thinking that you'd like to create maybe over the next, 3 to 6 months? What are we creating right now?
Yeah, so I technically have it created, but I'm actually looking at kind of recreating it, rebranding it, I guess you can call it, and integrating it into what I currently have. And it's basically what I call a story quiz. So it's basically figuring out which kind of story archetype your business best can leverage. And I created this because everybody is talking about storytelling and that you should do it, that you need to use it, but nobody tells you exactly how to do it. And I was like, well, I kind of know how to do it from my film acting background, so let me integrate it into business. And so I created this like quiz based off of story archetypes, and specifically molded it to fit into business. And it's basically like shows you, based on the archetype that is best for your business, how to actually take the bullet points of that and create a story, like a structured story that actually works, because these are the same stories that are told in Hollywood and TV shows and movies and books and all that stuff.
Are you talking about similar to like hero content, like the hero's journey?
It's different from the hero's journey, but it's kind of within the same realm of it.
Yeah.
So there's like I think it's like a puzzle type of thing where it's like it's part of that big picture puzzle.
Yeah, you can definitely test that on me. I would love to do that. Yes.
Great.
Sure.
Awesome.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm excited for people to get to know you a little bit better, through the YouTube, through the podcast, and in the Female Leader headquarters. Now that you've been a part of the podcast, you're welcome for post pre-approval inside that. So you can share more of your brilliance when it comes to personal branding and marketing in there as well for us.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode of the Be That Create That podcast, or on YouTube. And we'll be sharing more of these interviews with you as we go, because we love to create that leadership lifestyle, and everybody can make a difference. You just have to choose the way that you want to do it and go for it. So we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks so much.
Bye.